valve adjustments are the topic of every CF Moto group. So today we're going to talk about how to do this. Now this applies to every CF Moto ever built. The single cylinders, the V-twins, the whole 9 yards. It's going to show you exactly how to do it. We're going to talk about when you should do it and how many miles you should do it at. So service manual states first 20 hours, 200 miles. You should take it in and have it done. My take on that is I personally do not do that. I go by what the book states, the 2,000 mile rule. And I'm going to explain to you why I do not take it into the dealer and take any of mine into the dealer and have them do it at the first 20 hours. My reasoning behind this is no engine is technically broken in fully at 20 hours. It's just not. It's actually, you know, I do believe in changing the engine oil for the simple fact you want to get every piece of metal debris out of there. You don't want that in there. So yes, changing the engine oil, changing the transmission oil, yes, absolutely. But the valves, no. I personally feel like they are not broken in quite yet. Me, instead, I like to do it at 1,000 miles. Now, I will say this. Have some taken them in at 20 hours and the valve's been tight? Yes, they have. But me personally, that sounds like a QC problem at the facility the engine was built at. Do you take your car in to have its valves adjustment at 20 hours? No, you don't. Do you take your lawnmower to have it done at 20 hours? No, you don't. If you got a 4-stroke weed eater, no, you don't. A boat, no, you don't. None of those things you don't. This is the only one I've ever heard of that on. But with that said, I do recommend that you follow the instructions in the manual. Also, CF Moto recommends 2,000 miles. Every 2,000 miles to do those. And I 100% completely agree. Now, mind you, this video is completely my opinion and only my opinion. Should you follow the manual, not me? I'm here for educational purposes only. So, on your CF Moto, you're going to want to get in there and pull apart the cover. We're going to want to get our 10mm socket and start pulling off the valve cover. Now, the second thing we're going to want to do before we do this is there's a mark, there's a line on the cam sprocket. You're going to want to align this, and I'm going to show you what this does. We have a cam here, and we have what's called lobes, okay? The cam rockers, the rollers, roll along this lobe. Now, you want to do this because it sets the rockers along the lobe that's in the neutral position. No pressure, no stress, no nothing on these, okay? I'm doing this in simple terms for you guys to understand. So whenever you do this, it lays the lobes right here and instead of on the peaks of the mountain there, so there's no pressure. Now we're going to check to see if we have any movement, and we don't. This motor here has 3,500 or 3,600 miles on it. The valves have never been checked. You're going to want to check. We got a little movement there, but I'm going to tell you, it probably needs adjusted. We've got no movement on this rocker, so I'm going to tell you, it needs adjustment. There is, it's there, it's just barely any. You also want to inspect your cam chain, timing chain in here, and make sure there's no play while you're in here. This one actually seems to be good. It looks good. The sprocket actually looks really good, so nothing going on there, which that's really good because this motor has been beat, overheated, and abused in 3,600 miles when I pulled it out of this turbo U-Force. I'll get you some footage of that. So what we're going to do is, because I already know that they're out of spec, we're going to get a 10mm wrench. We're going to crack these nuts loose. All 4 of them, okay? All right, now we're going to back these off a little bit. All right. Now the manual states that the intake valve clearance should be 0.06 millimeter to 0.14 millimeter. That's going to be this side, okay, of the cam. The exhaust states that it should have 0.11 and 0.19 millimeter. So that's this side of the engine. Exhaust intake, exhaust intake. So we're going to start with the intake, and what I like to do is I don't like to be real close to either of those numbers. So we're going to want to get our feeler gauges, and I don't like to be real close to either side of those numbers. I like to be a little bit conservative. So it says for the intake 0.06 millimeter to 0.14 millimeter. So I chose a 0.08 millimeter, and for the exhaust it says 0.11 to 0.19. I chose a 0.13 millimeter. So you can get feeler gauges anywhere on Amazon, eBay, wherever you want. I got mine from Snap-on. I got the whole set. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the intake side with our 8, put it in here just like so, and we're going to back off this flathead screwdriver until it fits. Now we're going to tighten that flathead screw until we have barely resistance. We want some resistance, but we don't want a ton of resistance. Okay, just like that. We got enough resistance. Now we're going to leave it in there. We're going to hold the screwdriver and we're going to tighten our nut. Now we're going to double check that. Yep, resistance. Okay, let's do this side. Okay, we're going to tighten that, just like so. I'm going to check it. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to do the exhaust. Get in here. We just want a little bit of resistance. Okay. Like that. Yep. Now let's do this side. Yep. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is done. Now we have nice, plenty of play in there. Plenty of play, just like it should be. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Do your own valve check. It doesn't take no time at all and will save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We've heard of dealers charging upwards of $800 to $1,000 to do this. This is such a quick and easy job. You can do it yourself and save a ton of money. These feeler gauges here, they're Snap-on. They cost me a few $100, but you can get feeler gauges on Amazon. You want millimeter or whichever one you want. The book gives you both specs. So just get a set of feeler gauges, preferably the angled ones. Those help you a lot. These ones have a fancy handle, but you can buy some cheapy ones on Amazon for like $10. So for $10, you own a tool. And you do this, it takes 5 minutes. Doesn't take no time at all. And I know you guys are asking me, how do you turn the motor? How do you turn the motor? Pop the clutch cover off and turn it by hand with the clutch. That's it. And all you got to do is just make sure this cam is lined up against the head, just like mine is. This one is marked with a marker from CF Moto. Some actually have divots, lines. The newer ones do that. But just go by the mark, line it up, bada bing, bada boom. You're in spec, saved a ton of money. Guys, don't let anybody tell you that you have to take it to them to keep warranty, blah, 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 blah. If you do this, write it down. Hey, I put the valves in check. I put the valves in spec at such and such hours, such and such miles. In your owner's manual, there's a section in the book for you to actually do this. Oil changes, save your receipts, take pictures of your valve. And one thing, guys, I recommend is if you're going to take it to a dealer to have the valves checked, take a paint marker and mark the nuts, because we actually did a test on this. We took a machine to a dealer to have the valves and a service done, and Guess what? They charged me for the valves and never touched the nuts. So we had it out with them. Sure did. So this is something that does happen. Scammers, lazy mechanics. Mark the nuts with something. Mark the whole nut with paint. That way if they put a socket on it, it's going to chip that paint and you will know. Now, some of them could be shady. They might see that and just wobble a socket on there real quick. So you got to be careful with that. But that's the thing, guys. That's the thing. Don't put up with the shenanigans from greedy dealers. Not all dealers are like that. I can recommend you quite a few good ones. They're on my website. You can find the dealers that sell our clutch kits and dealers that we recommend, that we work with, that we trust. They are on my website. So you search for those dealers and you know you got a good one. All right, guys. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Click notifications so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. For all of your CF Moto parts, accessories, needs, check out our website, www.rngperformance.net. Let me know how this new camera is working out for you. We're going to get you some B-roll here in a second.